Happy Thirsty Thursday, Winers. Welcome back to another episode of Adultish Wine, Season 3. We're just getting started. I can't wait. I'm actually really excited for the guest on today's episode. Her name is Marin, and she recently kind of went viral on her journey to find LOVE. Bad word we can't say out loud because if we're looking for it, we're not supposed to be looking for it. We're supposed to be just letting it happen. Anyway, so she just went on 28 dates in 28 days during the month of February. She documented it all. She went viral. I think I stumbled upon her page around like date 14. And I've just been keeping up ever since. I want a status update. I want to see where she's at. Is she in love? Is she in a relationship? Did she hate anyone? What was the worst date? So without further ado, let's have Marin come on and just tell us her side of her story. Nice to meet
Okay.
you. You look so
Nice.
sporty, Spice. I love it.
I am. I actually went on a lunch date today, which was kind
Oh,
of a weird
perfect.
vibe, but
Was
I
it?
loved it. I mean, it's
Oh,
like a
okay.
little formal. Like I like a dinner date. It's way more romantic.
You think a dinner date is less formal than a lunch date?
No, I like a more formal date.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Got it, got
Yep.
it. Cool. Well, I'm so happy to meet you, and hi, Archie.
Archie's here.
I feel like I know you both have been following your journey.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah, I've already kind of told the listeners before you got on, just kind of a preface for the 28 dates. But if you want to just tell us, like, kind of what prompted it and, like, a little bit about you. Like, were you going through, like, a dumpy dating phase? Did you have a breakup? What was the start of it all?
Yeah. So it was winter, which is like the worst time for single girls in New York City because it's like dark and cold. But I was just very single. I was going on dates kind of like sporadically, but none of them were really turning into anything. And then I was also in a love triangle at work, and so it was like a hot mess.
Oh, no.
But it was like with like a younger guy. It was so stupid. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, what
Yeah,
am I even doing? And so essentially I was like, I need to actually like intentionally start to date because I could see the next 10 years going by and just not like finding anyone because I'm just like,
right.
it's so easy to get caught up on the wrong people. And so I'm just like so lazy that I was like, I need like a whole 30, but for dating, basically. And that's what prompted the 28 dates in 28 days in February.
Whoa, so smart. Yeah,
Yeah,
Whole 30, we all do it.
totally. It's like, it's the same thing because like dating, nobody like thinks about it as a skill or like a muscle. And really do feel like practice makes perfect. It's really a numbers game.
Exactly. And you kind of mentioned it's like easy to get in like a bad way. It's also easy to like lay on the couch and want to do nothing on a Friday night and just like be
Oh
by
my God.
yourself.
And especially with like Uber Eats, like I would just like order like a salad and some froyo. It was like I was very comfortable, like too comfortable.
It gets too comfortable. I know some of my guy friends are
Hmm.
like, I don't know how you're trying to meet somebody when you're at home all the time. I'm like, well, hopefully someone's gonna literally come knocking at my door. That's what I'm
I
waiting for.
know. Where do you live, by the way?
I live in Houston.
Okay, I
So I'm
love the setup.
originally, oh, thank you. It's new. You're actually
It
my
looks
first
good.
guest on season 3. So
Yay.
I know I'm so excited. Thank you. I was gonna ask you about that because I'm from Los Angeles originally, so I've dated in LA,
Okay.
and then I'm here. I've been here for about 2.5 years in Houston, dated in
Hmm.
Houston.
Yep.
What apps are you using? Because your dates look pretty nice out in New York.
Yeah, no, I've been really lucky that I've somehow ended up dating like really financially stable men. I started out using Hinge. Hinge
Okay.
in New York City is like the best app for everyone. I think it's like well known that everyone like is on Hinge. I was also on Bumble, but Bumble I was like a little bit more sporadic with.
Okay.
And then once I did the challenge, I went viral fairly quickly. And then I had a lot of guys sliding into my DMs. And then I had some friends like setting me up. But yeah, all the finance boys I actually met on Hinge.
Okay.
Yeah, a little plug. They're not
Little
paying me,
plug.
by the way,
Well,
but
they should.
it's the truth. Yeah, they honestly, I'm like, maybe that's like a future partnership I'll manifest.
Absolutely. Well, it's like you don't want that because soon, hopefully, you're going to be in a relationship and in love and you won't need
That
it.
would be great.
However, but I
That's
know
the
you use
idea.
Bumble as BFF too, right?
Yes. So I use Bumble for BFF, and I actually met some of my best friends in New York City. I was 29 when I moved to the city, and I came here not knowing a single person. went on Bumble BFF and like went to like a big mixer and met four of my best friends. And obviously I met people through like different mediums as well, but that's like a really great way to start.
Yeah. What made you make the move and where are you from originally?
So I'm from Minnesota.
Okay.
I actually, like, speaking of love, I had just broken up with my ex-boyfriend, and we were at that point where we were either going to get married or we were going to break up, and we
Okay.
broke up. He was 13 years older than me,
Okay.
and that's why, like, when I talk to my followers, I'm like, age does not indicate like readiness for a relationship or a marriage.
Really
Like,
good point.
because, yeah, so because like I thought he was so much older than me that, like, even though I was mature and ready for something more serious, it turned out like he was never going to be ready to make that like jump. And some men are just like not wired that way.
Right.
I learned it the hard way, I guess, but it wasn't that hard because I was still in my 20s. I think you can find love at any age, but I think if I can like share this lesson with people, I would like to like scream it from the mountaintops that like watch other red flags even if somebody is of a certain age.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you that
Mhm.
too. Like
Yeah.
on Hinge and the dating apps, I have my own things that I look for on. I'm very single, by the way.
Oh, are you? Okay, I
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
wondering. Yeah.
And we whine a lot about dating on this pod, and
I love it.
typically when I'm dating someone that I like have high hopes for, I don't necessarily talk too much about them. One, to not jinx myself, and
Mhm.
two, out of kind of respect for them. But
That's
green
nice.
flags, yeah, green flags for me is like, okay, you have a photo with friends. You're not like all five photos aren't like you showing off some random car in a parking lot. Like, what are green flags on dating apps for you? Like, photos or the prompts?
Yeah, I think that just like some well-rounded photos. Obviously, like I want to be able to tell who a guy is immediately. So like if I like am looking, if I'm like zooming in at on multiple pictures, being like, is he that one or that one?
Right.
That's not good. So like somebody who's just like confident and has some good pictures that show like who they are, their face. Um, and then just like witty responses to the prompts. It doesn't have to be like so witty. Like it doesn't have to be like, oh, that's a rhyme or a puzzle I've never heard before. It like doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that serious. But I think just like a little bit of spice to the answers, not being too serious, but also not making it into like something more than it has to be.
Yeah.
A lot of guys in New York will say like my favorite bars are, and then they'll like write down their like top three bars, which
Oh, that's
that's a good
nice.
one. That's like a perfect prompt because it's like, oh, would I could I see myself hanging out at those bars? Because each bar is such a unique vibe. And
Right.
so like there's like different indicators throughout the pictures and the prompts as to who the person is. I mean, in New York, everything is bigger, I swear. And so like a lot of the men have like these amazing travel pictures or like, private jet pictures. By the way, I'm like, I would avoid the private jet pictures. I think they're like a little douchey. And I
It's
think
giving Tinder
also
swindler. It's giving
it's
Tinder
giving,
swindler.
yes, it's giving Tinder Swindler. It's almost like, okay, like what are you trying to prove? Like I've had a few guys on dates be like, yeah, my goal this year is to make like seven figures. I'm like, I just met you. Like, don't tell me that. Like, what?
Oh,
Like,
it's too
it's too
much.
much. Yeah.
You're coming on
So
too
like
strong.
a little less is usually more.
Okay, I like that. And then
Yeah.
what do you kind of like view as for somebody making a dating profile, like maybe just getting back out there, like
Yeah.
maybe 6 months ago, I deleted my whole Hinge and I
Mm-hmm.
like gave it a few months off and I restarted and I wanted to be like really strategic about like a face photo, a full body photo, like trying to
Yeah.
be witty to the prompts. Like what do you think are positives for women to show
Yeah, that's a good
or for
question.
yourself?
So for me, I think like a solo face picture is always good. Mix it up, like do some like smiling photos with some teeth, as well as like maybe if you like to do like the not the resting bitch face, but you know what I mean, like the soft
Yeah.
smile. That's cute too. But I think having like a little mixture. I don't like to do like too many like sexy photos, but I definitely have like a low key swimsuit photo. Not that you need that like at
Right.
all, but I think just like showing off your style. Mine happened to be like a travel one, so like you could see like the background and like that I like to travel and like to be on the beach. But then also just like a group photo with people I care about. I think that having like diversity, but just really showing your best, like putting your best foot forward. I think that, like, if you think about it, in the dating pool, you are competing against other people. And so, like, there's so many people who are like, I think, want to be a little too honest. And I'm like, no, this is marketing. Like, at the beginning, like, before you like get to
Oh.
the first date, you are marketing yourself and like you're your own personal like PR person. And so you want to put in a lot of effort in creating a really like attractive dating profile because then you're going to get to the first stage, which is the first date, and then things can continue to progress from there. With that being said, like, absolutely don't catfish people. I personally haven't been catfished, but I've heard from men who have been catfished. And like, so you want to make sure that like, yes, you're putting your best foot forward, but you also want to make sure that foot is like is aligned with reality.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've
Mm-hmm.
been I guess you could say height fished.
Ooh, okay. Tell me
I'm
more.
5'10".
Ooh,
So I know I'm a tall girly.
yep.
And unfortunately I do have a height requirement. It's my only physical trait that I
I think
require.
that's okay. I think own whatever you're looking for, right?
Yeah, and so I
Yeah.
pretty quickly I will be if I'm in person and someone who is, not 6'3" or 4 approaches me, I will be more likely to entertain that because I can see their personality or their style, you know what I mean? But like on the apps like you said, you're already competing against so many. You're one of
Mm-hmm.
many at that point, and I'm just not going to
Yeah.
date somebody who's 5'10". But anyway, I've gone on a date with several men who've said they were the 6'1", 6'2". 6'3". I show up and they're like 5'10", and I'm wearing
Yeah.
heels, so you're shorter than me. And I'm
Oh,
6'2" at the moment, and you're not.
that's so funny. Wait, I feel like I just realized that every single man lies on the dating apps about their
At
height.
least by 1 inch, but I probably
At
round it to
least.
2. Yes.
Okay,
So
I
all the
think that's
me.
so honest. Yeah, that's it's true because like I found myself where I'm like taller in heels than some of my dates and I like look back at what they wrote on the apps and I'm like, "Oh, hun, like you're for sure like you lied." It's okay. I'm
Absolutely.
not mad, but like that you lied.
Yeah, on season 1 of the podcast, I had one of my really good guy friends on, and I was talking to him about his dating profile, and
Mhm.
I said, your profile says you're six. I think it says 6'2". He's like, I'm six
Mhm.
one and a half, and I said, then you round down. Then you round down.
Oh, interesting.
He's like, no, blah blah blah. And the next time I saw him, I brought a tape measure.
And did you measure him?
Yeah, he was like 6'1 1/4".
So, okay, but like for me, I will push back a little bit on you because I feel
Okay.
like 5'10", like, yes, you are tall, but I feel like if your ideal man is 6'2" or 6'3", that's like a really, really, really small subsect of the population. And like you are gorgeous, but like also it's like, I don't know, like you probably have other requirements.
I'm laughing because everyone tells me that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they're like, Paige, you want like a good guy who doesn't cheat and 6'3"? You're asking for too much.
I mean, I've dated like my ex-boyfriend was 6'3", and
See, how
I thought
tall
it
are you, Marin? How tall are you?
I'm 5'6",
Okay, so
and
save the taller ones for us.
I didn't try to date him. Like that's the thing. I love a short king, by the way. And if I'm like taller than my man when I'm wearing heels, I don't even care.
I
Like it's
love that. I
I'm
wish I was
wild.
like that. You're
Yeah,
wild.
I'm wild. Like I'm like, ooh, like this is fun. Like I don't really care. Like that's the thing though. Like when a guy has a bit, like okay, I almost just said something so dirty. When a
Were you
guy
gonna say
has
has a big
no,
dick?
I was gonna say when a guy has big dick energy, but I was gonna
Okay.
like the phrasing was off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When a guy has big dick energy, it doesn't matter how tall he is. It's like
You're
his
right.
swag. Because by the way, my ex-boyfriend who was 6'3", God bless his soul, he was less confident. And so like sometimes I forgot he was so tall.
Yeah, I can see that. But that's why I said I'm more likely in person to,
Okay.
you
Yes, I
know,
appreciate that.
yeah, but like on an app, I'm just like, no, no, no. And also, if you say you're 6 foot, I know you're really 5'10" because you're lying already. You know what I mean?
True. So maybe we
So
just do 6'1". Maybe we lower it an inch.
I love that.
I'm like a
That's hilarious.
negotiator. I'm like a businesswoman. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah, you're in sales, right? Or you were in sales.
I was, yep. I'm
Okay.
a former sales and recruitment specialist.
Okay, awesome. I'm in sales
Mm-hmm.
now too, and it's unlike anything I've ever
Ooh.
done.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
It's growing on me. I'm used to a much
Is
more
it?
creative environment. I used to work
Okay.
in TV and movies in LA, and so in the costume department. So it's just like
Cool.
from clothes to, sales is really weird, but it's
Everything is sales though in life.
you're right. And that's what I told my
Hmm.
boss when she interviewed me, and she's
Yep.
like, "You were a what?" And I was like, "A costumer, but I have so many skills that translate, I promise. I can schmooze with the best of them."
I love it. But I
Yeah.
love that you have this creative outlet too. It's
Exactly.
amazing.
This is so that's
Hmm.
why the sales job is like even better for me now that I just feel like I can put my creative juices into this.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into your actual 28 dates, where you're standing
Yep.
right now. I
Hmm.
love that you use code words as identifiers because I think that's a very relatable. First of all, I think your whole journey, it may not be relatable to some, like maybe, people in like maybe middle America aren't going to these nice exclusive, restaurants and drinks and stuff, but I just love that you've been very vulnerable and relatable in your truth, and that makes me like that's what I loved about your journey when I found it. So, cuz I'm
Thank
sure
you.
everyone to my therapist when she's talking to me and I'm like, Alex, she's like, Alex bathroom or Alex headband? Which Alex are you talking about?
Oh my
Like which
God.
everyone does it. So 28 dates. I know that you had a few front runners towards the end. You had like a CEO, a lawyer,
Hmm.
a
Yep.
comedian, date number two, which we will definitely talk about,
The
and
tea.
the T. Was there
Hmm.
any other front runner that I'm missing?
No, not really. There was a writer, but he was, I went on like maybe 3 dates with him, but a lot of people
Okay.
were like, "Where's the writer?" And I'm like, he just like wasn't as big of a deal in my journey as maybe other people thought he was. It's interesting though, because like I repost a lot of like text message threads from these guys.
Yeah.
And so I feel like everyone has, and like between my date recaps and like some of like the things I post on my stories, everyone has like a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was surprised that some of the people were like so connected to the writer. But the CEO, I actually decided on Saturday to end it with him, and it
Okay.
felt very mutual. Like we were supposed to go on a date on Saturday and we are going to go on a double date, and I just was like in my gut, I just like didn't feel like we were going to be romantic.
Okay.
And so I just texted him and I was like, "Hey, like I don't want to like get your friends involved and like, meet your friends and do all this extra stuff just because I know going into the date that I like am gonna end it, and I think it'd be like
Right.
really like disingenuous to sit through everything and like do all the niceties just to know I'm gonna end it."
Yeah.
So he was so cool about it though. It was amazing. Like
Which
he
is
was
such a
like,
turn on.
it was such a turn on, which like I still feel the same about him, but like for whoever he ends up with, I'm like, wow, that's like a great guy. And like him and I
Oh,
will
that's
stay
good.
friends. Yeah. Like we had a lot in common. We had a great rapport. I just didn't feel like the romantic side of things as well. So he was maybe somebody who like we probably mutually friend zoned each other.
Okay.
And then the comedian and I are still seeing each other. He and I are like starting to get to like an inflection point where it's like where is this going?
Right.
Um and we're trying to figure it out. It's like a little tricky because he's 28, and like I was always a little trepidatious about his 3-year age gap cuz I'm 31.
Okay.
And I was like he's 3 years younger than me, but in guy years it's like dog years, and like I just like I didn't know. Like I was like I just feel like is this going to be like long term? Is this going to be viable?
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're at like this point where it is starting to feel more serious, but we just have to like, have some tough conversations and like work out the kinks because
Okay.
I am really looking for a life partner. And so like if I was like 23, maybe I would feel like a little bit more like let's just go with the flow. Let's just see what happens. And although
Mm-hmm.
I think that you can't rush or force anything in life, I do think that the older you get, the more in tune with what you want. Like you just become quicker at like spotting red flags and like what I like to say is keeping it moving,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in a more efficient manner. And so with him, I like he's kind of a big question mark right now. I think
Okay.
he has real feelings for me. I have real feelings for him, but it will be interesting to see what happens. I think I'll either fully date
Okay.
him or we'll end things soon. And
Okay.
then,
Staying tuned for that.
yeah, I know. It's like tense times. It's like him and I had like a conversation about it earlier today. And so it's like all like this is like the fresh breaking news.
Oh.
Um, yeah, and then the lawyer, he's really awesome. So he actually was a setup from Lindsay from We Met at Acme,
Oh yeah.
and he's 31, I'm 31. I'm like a month and a half older than him. He's just like a really like successful, fun guy, and he actually took me to lunch today. And the lunch date was nice. I didn't love it because like usually we go on like fun romantic
What
dinner
number date is
dates.
this with the lawyer? How many dates have you been on?
This was our fourth date.
Okay.
And I was actually supposed to plan our fourth date, but I ended up having to cancel it because I like forgot I had plans with a friend and I didn't want to flake on my friend. And so today at lunch, I was like, maybe I should pay for it because like I was supposed to plan our last date. And he's been taking me on like these really extravagant dates. Like
Uh-huh.
every time, like he takes me to like the nicest, coolest restaurants and like we get like a million plates and whatnot. So I was like, maybe I should pay. And so like I tried to, and it was so hot because he was like, no, absolutely not. He's like, you'll get me in the future or like something like that. But
Love
like
that.
just like would not let me pay. And I was like, you're so
Aw.
hot. Like it was so attractive. And that makes me sound like a gold digger, maybe, but there's
No.
like it's not about the money. It's about like the the dance of dating and the romance of it and the guy like wanting to like take care of it and provide. I think that's really hot.
No, it's really hot.
Mhm.
I do really appreciate a man who takes that like lead in that way and knows not to
Mhm.
make it feel awkward, like has just like a very suave way of going about it.
Yeah.
However, like this is way too much and probably for a different podcast, but like I have this thing where I like really feel like I need to contribute and
Okay.
I'm okay with someone telling me no, but like when I genuinely say I'm happy to pay for this, like I genuinely mean it. But
Mhm.
sometimes I feel like I'm kind of conflicted with, hearing people out in the world like, a man should pay, a man should do this on
Yeah.
dates and all this stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, so like, is that not good that they let me pay when I genuinely did want to, you know?
Yeah, I don't really know. I haven't paid for a ton with the guys. Obviously, that's another tension point out on the internet because people are like, this girl just wants free meals, but I don't want free meals. Like, I'm actually looking for my partner, but like, I'm also like a more traditional woman in
Right.
that, sorry about that,
That's okay.
in that, I usually am like attracted to guys who would naturally just want to pay and who
Right.
would like insist upon paying. I don't think it's like the end of the world if a guy says yes. It's he might just feel awkward and
Mm-hmm.
like you know what I mean. Like I feel like some men like they don't know what to do when the girl pushes back and then he's just like okay yeah sure because then
Right.
like he doesn't want to be accused of being like anti-feminist and like I know that's happened to people in the past and so I don't really know.
Yeah, there's so many hot buttons that can be pressed out here lately in this world.
It's
So,
it's such a dance. I think that like for me, I will sometimes pretend to offer, but my default is just to kind of like observe and like be slow with my movements
yeah.
when the check comes and like you don't have to do like you don't have to say something right away.
Right.
You
And on
don't
a
have to
first
make a
date,
move right away. You
totally.
can
On a
be
first date,
slow.
I don't make a move. I fully expect if you ask me to take me out, like that's expected of me, and that's not to get a meal. We could go on a walk or a coffee on a first date. You're the one who chose dinner or whatever.
Yeah, you
Um,
chose the venue.
right, right. So first date, absolutely not. I'm not moving, and I'd just say thank you very much because
Okay, so
thank you.
what date are you starting to get a little fidgety?
Like, well, even if we go for drinks after the first date, like I'll be like, I'll get the drinks. Or the second date, I'm like, let me get
Mm.
this one. You took me out the first time. Like it's that quickly for me.
Oh,
Fidgety, I love it.
really?
Yeah.
That's so quick. I'm like on the first date, I'm like, so are you gonna get me a taxi or I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like the
No,
opposite energy.
but I have this like fantasy of somebody like asking me out on a date and then being like,
Hmm.
I ordered you these two dresses to choose from. I'm getting you an Uber. Meet me at the restaurant. Like, oh,
Yeah.
die.
I mean, that's like a little creepy for the first date. Like, imagine, like, oh my God, like, what if he sent ugly ass dresses and you're like, I don't want to wear either?
I would be a good sport. I'd probably choose the ugliest one and I would just go with it.
See, I feel like I would be like, I tried them on and they didn't fit. Like, I'd be like, I'm not going in public. Sorry. I feel like men like don't like unless it's Kanye West, like which by the way, I would never date him, but unless he has like cool style. But like him dressing me versus some like random like finance guy who like
I don't
probably
know,
doesn't
like
have that great of
this
taste.
lawyer is taking you to nice places. Don't you think he might have a good taste in like a simple black dress?
You know what? I think that he is good at a lot of things. I don't know if fashion is his forte.
Uh-oh.
Like he dresses nice. Like if he listens to this, he's gonna die when I say that. But I mean, I wouldn't let the comedian dress me either, to be honest.
Okay, okay.
Like, I don't think men have the best fashion sense.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a quick left turn and let's talk about date number two, who we haven't talked about yet, but he is a terrible person. Take it away.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Take it
mean,
away.
he's just, I was like pretty like shocked by him. It's crazy because he was my second date. So I went on 28 dates in February. He was the second person who I met. He had been pursuing me since the end of December. And he had been like consistently messaging me on Hinge. I had honestly blown him off. And he was like so persistent that I was like, oh shit, like maybe he's like actually really into me. And then I was doing this challenge and we got together, and our first date was like a marathon date. And I thought it went really well. He did try to bring me home on the first date, which is a red flag, and I should have paid attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just like was really like he loved bombing me. Like he was very consistent and like would text me like first thing in the morning all the way to late at night. And I was like, oh my God, he's so communicative. He would say things like, I want to have Marin and insert his name time. Like he was like so like ooey gooey. And I was like, he's kind of cringy. Like I was like, what a loser. But like I was like, he's so obsessed with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just
And
felt good.
it just felt good. And like he adored me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like he was 43. So again, I should have learned my lesson, but I was like, clearly like he like is ready, and he told me he had never been married. He was like, I'm looking for someone to get married to, like not immediately. He wasn't looking to like order a bride off the internet, but he was like
The
definitely
passport
like give
bros are doing that. Have you heard about the passport bros?
no
Okay,
wait,
another
what is
subject.
that? Okay,
Passport
that's
bros is
crazy.
these guys who basically just can't stand that a woman like won't kind of give in, that they're not like emotionally supportive, that we're all these big feminists, so they're going abroad to bring home women and bring them here. It's a huge TikTok trend right now. And they're actually
Oh.
like saying it on the videos. Like, I'm in the Dominican trying to find me a wife who's gonna like rub my feet, cook me dinner.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny because women, I think universally women are very similar more than we are different.
Yeah, and
And
they're
I think
coming
the
over for the
joke,
visa.
so I think the joke is ultimately on those passport bros.
Yeah,
They're
100%.
just gonna find out like the hard way, but that's
Yeah.
okay. That's not my
Yeah.
fault, or that's not my problem. Go back to date number two. Yeah, he just like basically was like giving me all the green flags. Although I did have a gut feeling right away that like something was off, and it was because it was always hard for me to get a hold of him. So like he would like
Mm.
text me all the time, but then I would like try calling him because like for example, he would text me something, and instead of responding via text, I felt so comfortable with him that I picked up my phone to call him,
Okay.
and then he like wouldn't call like pick up the phone call, and then he wouldn't text me back for like 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
was just like so hot and cold. And then sometimes like my text messages would go green with him. And I was like, this is really bizarre. Like, I'm like, what is going on? Um, because he had an iPhone. And so I'm like, this is just strange. And then for our second date, he did invite me to his place for dinner, which by the way, I don't suggest going to someone's house on the second date.
Yeah.
But I, for whatever reason, did, probably because I felt like a weird sense of safety for with him because we went on a marathon date for our first date, which was like
Mm,
7 hours long. So it was like a false sense of safety.
yeah.
But so he cooked me dinner, and like while he was cooking, he was like, "Oh yeah, we go grab something from the closet." Like I was like looking for like a bottle of wine or something, and it's New York, and so it's like not so weird that he was keeping the wine in the closet. And I opened the closet, and there was like a bunch of women's clothing, like jackets, sweaters, all this stuff. And I was like, "Wait, do you have a girlfriend? Like, what's going on?" And he was like, "No." He's like, "That's my cousin's. She's moving back from New York to Toronto. Like, she's just like storing her stuff here right now." It was our second date. So I was kind of like, "Okay, like, I guess I believe you." And I like didn't think too much about it. And then why is he not inviting me slash flying me down to Miami? Because he's a
Just like for a
43-year-old.
day or two, not like obviously for a long period of time, but just like a
Yeah,
weekend.
for a weekend. And also, like, he's a 43-year-old high up guy at a hedge fund. Like, he has like a place in Miami and New York City. He's like, it's not about the money, right? Like,
Right.
if he like really wanted to like fly me out to Miami, he easily could have.
Hmm.
And he not once offered. And I thought that was kind of weird. And people might be like, why is that? Like, that's not weird. But like in the context of New York, it's weird. Um, and then yeah, and then he got back from Miami, and he got back on a Sunday, and he was like not making plans. And so I texted him, and I was kind of like, "Yeah, I'm wondering when you're gonna ask me to like hang out. Like, what the fuck?" And I didn't say
Hmm.
what. Oh, sorry, I swore.
That's okay.
I didn't say like WTH or whatever, but I was kind of like, "Yeah, I'm just curious like when this is like when you're gonna ask me out." And he was like, "Haha, how about Friday?" And this was on a
Haha.
Sunday. And like I was like, "So you're not gonna see me for this whole week?" I was like, "This man's psychotic." And so like I was just like being patient though, because he's like, "Babe, I'm sorry, the bank is crashing." Like, like, and I don't know anything about finance. And I'm like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Oh shit, all of these banks are crashing." Like I'm like just like so naive. Like, I don't know. I was like, he's probably really stressed. Like I was like weaving this whole fucking web of lies. It was so stupid.
We
And
so
so
easily do that. We so easily do
so
that. Is it a woman thing? Make excuses?
I think that like I just wanted it to work out so badly with him because again, I future tripped with him. Like
Mm.
I was like picturing, I'm gonna be fully transparent. I was fully picturing like my bougie ass life flying back and forth between New York and Miami with him. Like, you know what I mean? Me and Archie, like, time to go to the beach. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
stupid. But I was like, yeah, like I would be really happy and comfortable. And obviously, like I had like good chemistry with him. And
Right,
like
right.
he was like also like I don't want to call I hate the overuse of the word narcissist, but like I don't know if he is one or not, but like he was one of those people where like he was so charming and he was so charismatic and so funny and like you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
he was like one of those sparky people that like for me at the time I was like, "Oh yeah, we definitely have the spark." But now I'm like, "Oh, he's one of those people that like gives the spark to everybody." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I mean, so then I found so we went on a sushi date finally that Friday, and then he was like, "Come back to my place for a nightcap." Again, he was just trying to sleep with me, and I understand that now. But like
Hmm.
at the time, I was like, "Yeah, like we're just like so close," and because I told him I wasn't gonna sleep with him until we were committed, and went back to his place, and like he told me like because I was denying his advances physically, he
Hmm.
was like he was like, "No, I am committed to you." And he was like, I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna wait to see like your actions and your words align." Cause he had been giving me such like hot and cold behavior, like
Hmm.
that I was like a little trepidatious. My like, at least my gut was telling me to like slow it down. And but he was like, "We're gonna do couples massages." He was like talking about, he was like calling himself Archie's dad. Like he was love
Motherfucker.
yeah, no, he was love bombing me like fully, like to the nth degree. Like he was saying everything. Like we were gonna go on double dates. He was like, "I want to introduce you to this friend, to that friend. I can't wait for us to do dinner parties here." Like he was creating this whole fucking narrative, which was insanity. Um, and of course I was loving it. I was like, "Oh my God, like can't wait." Like
Hmm.
stupid. Um, and then I looked next to his bed. So there's like the man side of the bed, and then there's like the girl side of the bed, right? On the girl side of the bed, the first time I had noticed this, there was a jewelry holder. Again, his cousin's. But
Okay.
this time, like again, I'm a Scorpio. Like I'm very perceptive. I pick up on the smallest details, and I don't know if it's a Scorpio or a woman's thing,
It
but
must be a
probably
woman
a,
because I'm a Capricorn and I'm very observant.
so I think it's observant. That's the word. So I think it must be a woman thing. And so there's one piece of rogue jewelry, one like little necklace laying next to the bed, and I was like, "What? Who's it?" I picked it up. I was like, "Whose is this?" And I like didn't yell at him, but I was kind of like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "It's my cousin's." And I was like, "Show me." And then I opened a drawer, and there were blonde extensions in the drawer, and I was like, "Okay, show me your cousin. Like, who is your cousin? Like, I need to see a visual aid." He shows me a picture of his cousin who has black hair, and she's like a middle age, like 30, maybe mid 30. And that's not middle age, but like maybe late 30s, early 40s, has two kids, has a rich husband. Like, you can just tell that she's doing very well. And
She's not storing her things in your New York apartment.
thank you. And he's the type of guy where he's so organized and anal that I'm like, you would have sent you would have hired somebody to come to your apartment, box it up, and shipped it to your cousin at this point in time. You wouldn't just have all this women, like rogue women's stuff
Oh
integrated
my
into your
God.
apartment. So I looked at him and I just said, tell me the truth. Like, we're not exclusive. I've been dating like a lot of guys actually, like this past month. Like, we don't owe each other anything right now. Just like tell me the truth. And he was like, no, babe, it's just you. You're the only girl I'm seeing. And I was like, and then we went to bed and I did sleep over that night, but I didn't hook up with him. But like I was pretty tipsy at that point and I slept over. And the next morning I like kind of like just like had like a weird feeling. And that was the last time I saw him. And oh, so
Wow.
he made me a juice in the morning, like a fresh like from his juicer.
Yeah. This is so
he
New
like
York of you right now.
he made me like a juice, and he like made me a coffee, and he was like, I'm so glad I'm back, like we're like all, like still acting like we're gonna be together. And then I like got home and I like texted him and we were like, he's like, I miss you already. And I'm like, bitch, you don't have to miss me, like we live in the same place. And he was like, and then I said something like, maybe this week, because the banks are failing and you're busy, maybe we could just do something like low key. Like one night we could watch a movie or like walk Archie and get a coffee, even. Like it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be like a whole like date, because I understand that you're very stressed and busy. And he was like, yeah, maybe. And I was like, ooh, that's not good. And then I decided to like I started to withdraw from him,
Hmm.
because when someone withdraws from me, like I'm not gonna like double down on them. And so
Right.
I started to withdraw from him. And then I had also told him the last time I saw him, I'm like, if you want to be in a relationship with me, you have to see me, or you have to text me at least like a few times per day. Like I need to talk to you every day. Like I don't
Okay.
think that's that crazy at that point in the relationship.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, of course, of course. And then he didn't text me like the rest of Saturday, all of Sunday. And then Sunday at 10 p.m., I was like, hey, cutie. And he goes, hola. And I was like,
Ugh.
this motherfucker. And I was just pissed. I was like, okay, that's the end of us. And then 2 days later, I went to dinner with my friend and I told her everything about like the women's clothing, the extensions, and she has a boyfriend and she's like 31, and so she's been around the block, and she's like, Marin,
Writings on the
n-
wall.
she's like, no woman leaves like rogue pieces of like clothing and jewelry and all of that just like
Yeah, you were
around their
blinded
cousin.
though.
I was
I think
blinded,
it
and
happens to so many people.
it does. I think it's really common. It's love bombing. He clearly had the intention to sleep with me.
Hmm.
He was gonna like, thankfully I had this like Steve Harvey like 90-day rule where like
I'm glad
I'm
you
like,
brought this up because you've
yeah,
talked about like not sleeping with any of these men yet, and that's why. I didn't know Steve Harvey was such a the man.
He is the man. He has multiple dating books, and I have not found a better dating book to date because he just talks about the man's point of view. And he also just like has this underlying message of like, women, you are the queen, you are the prize, you are like the one who should be on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
And so many women just like don't have that mindset when they're dating, and they come from like a place of like lack or like scarcity. And it's like, no, like we are like the greatest gift to this earth.
Preach.
I sound crazy, but I like just was listening because now because I'm a dating influencer now. I listen to so many people, and it's like whatever video I just watched today, like that's who I'm channeling. And I'm like, I was watching like this like preacher who said that.
I love it, and I need that motivation in my life. So
Hmm.
thank you. We all do. I mean, and I feel
Yeah.
like you have kind of a broad I know you have some men that follow you, some older like
Yes.
moms of younger women, and obviously some
Hmm.
single girlies, and I feel like that's kind of my listener crowd too, is like, a lot of I'm still quite small, so I have a lot of like friends of friends of friends of friends, and I have
Totally.
guys that like message me that listen, and you
I
know,
love it.
older people, so I feel like we all need to hear this.
Everyone needs to
Guys
hear
are
it.
guys are great and they're a gift too, but we're just trying to get across that like you got to do a little work for us. You got to impress us a little bit.
Yeah. Guys are special. Like I'm not saying they're not special. Um, but I think that a woman is like, you know, we're the queens.
With the queens. I love it. Steve
Yeah.
Harvey. Okay, I got to get his book.
Yeah, you
That's
do. It's the first one is think like a lady, act like a man.
okay.
No, no, think like a man, act like a lady. Act like a
Think
lady,
like
think
a
like a man.
okay.
Act yeah. Act like a lady, think like a man. And then his other book is called No Chaser. I recommend both. Honestly, like when I was going through my bullshit with date number two, one thing that he wrote in the No Chaser book, which is his follow-up book to the first one, was when you tell a man like I need X, Y, and Z for us to be in relation to each other, this man is gonna accelerate into it to make it happen instead of pulling away. And so,
Mm,
for example, with date number two, I told him, I need you to talk to me every day, and I need to see you like a few times per week if we're gonna like turn this into a real relationship. And he did the opposite. He didn't accelerate into it and make plans with me and text me consistently. He pulled away. And that's how I
right.
knew he wasn't my guy.
Okay.
Because you can't force people to do anything, right? You can only tell
Right.
them so
No,
much.
and
And then,
people would want to change for you if they wanted to keep you around, or they thought you were the one, they would want to kind of adjust, if they could, if it was in their control. So I've thought about this before, and I think that we could be similar in this, in that on the podcast, this is season 3, I talk a lot about, I've been dating since I was a teenager, right? I have so many stories that I'm telling, and I'm also telling other whiners stories too, but sometimes I have a worry about, is this going to affect, a relationship that I'm in? Like is
yeah,
the man that I want going to be okay with knowing that there's 3, 4, 5 seasons out with me talking about my sexual life, my dating life,
yeah.
things like that. Do you ever feel worried about that?
Oh God, my foot's asleep. I'm gonna have to charge my phone.
Okay.
Like I'm being really rogue right now. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Um, so do I worry about that? No, because I like the thing about you and I is that we are who we are, and we're gonna always need to be creatives, and we can't like censor ourselves based upon what we think like some imaginary person is gonna want. Like the
Yeah.
guy who you're with is going to love it. They're going to think that's amazing, and they're going to like admire it about you, and they're not going to care. The wrong guy will care, but then that's not your guy. Like who cares?
Oh, you started a podcast, right? Or you are starting one?
Yes, I actually just got my first podcast deal with a dating app that I'm partnering with,
Cool.
which is so surreal. But I'm going to be starting the podcast. I'm going to start recording it next week. It's called
Okay.
Crowdsourcing Love.
Love.
And one of my first guests is actually the CEO.
Yes.
And he's going to come on and he's going to spill all the tea. Um, because he's just like, he's such a funny guy. Like he's a former banker
Okay.
he like started his own company that's like a media company for investor relations, but
Okay.
he really has his like finger on the pulse for the finance bro community. And so he's going to be kind of like their like speaking head, and I'm going to get all the tea from him.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
crowdsourcing love.
Crowdsourcing love. So it's like crowdsourcing and then love.
Okay, cute. Before I get all your social media handles and everything, I normally ask
Hmm.
my guests for a wine of the week. It could pertain to your dating, it could pertain to taxi drivers in New York. Is anything bugging you right now?
So my wine of the week would be gaining weight when dating. Like at first, everyone asked me, they're like, how are you staying in shape? And I was like, oh my God, like I'm just like so naturally thin. Like I never said that. I actually never said that, but like I just was like so cocky because I feel like it takes like a solid month to like actually gain weight. And so the first month I like was like, I'm the same size. And then now like it just hit me because now I'm 2 months into the challenge where I'm like, fuck. And I'm just like, I've definitely put on a few LBs, but the way that I like am at peace with it is I'm just like, you know what? There are different like life is very cyclical. And right now I'm in a cycle of like prioritizing dating and love and fun. And life is meant to be lived, right? And so
Yeah.
like I'm trying to like make some healthy choices and changes to kind of like tamper the damage I've done. But at the same time, it's like I'm not going to be upset about it because a lot of really great things have happened in the past 2 months.
Oh, that's a great, I mean, that is a wine, but that's a great little ending.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
love it. This was so fun. I really appreciate guys, shoot your shot too because I shot my shot in your DMs and I was like, I've been
Yay.
following
No, shoot your
you.
shot with this girl. She needs a 6'3" man. Like, what the fuck?
Oh,
We need
wait,
time for you.
speaking of, don't you do single features? Aren't you doing
I
single
do. So
features?
I'm actually like, so that's another thing I need to promote. I'm gonna really be diving into it these next few months because as much as I love having the spotlight on my dating life, I am like reaching a point where like I don't know, I'm building this ship as I'm sailing it.
Right.
But depending on what happens with the lawyer and the comedian, like if it doesn't go well with them and I don't end up in a relationship with them, I may reevaluate kind of how you were talking about your love life and like how much you share online.
Mm-hmm.
I may reevaluate that because I'm still going to be actively looking for a partner.
Right.
But there is like a certain level of vulnerability online that does start to become like a little bit scary.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had like guys be like, yeah, like I see that you're like getting all these dates and you're doing third, fourth, fifth dates, all of that, but like we're ready for you to close the deal. And I'm like, well, I don't, this isn't sales. Like I've been in sales, I've closed deals. Like, by the way, like I've been in multiple relationships in the past and I feel like I've closed the wrong deals. And so
Mm.
like I kind of pushed guys into like committing to me, but those weren't the right men for me. And
Right.
I shouldn't have had to push those guys to be with me in the past.
Right.
And so this time around I'm really like letting the guys take the leadership position, and that's hard for me because I'm a big personality. And so like it is like a little scary because it's like what if I do these all these dates, for the past 2 months all online, and then out of all of them nothing comes
You know
of
what?
it.
It's a part of your journey and it's got to where you are now. And I feel
True.
like, I mean, I'm sure you don't post everything, but like all day long on your stories, you're always posting, just like these encouraging, like mini little letters and notes from your followers of all different, like, kinds of people. So I think just try to, it's harder. It's easier said than done, but like try and just stick with the positives. And also, once you get social
Yeah.
media trolls, that means you really made it.
What?
Once you get social media trolls, that means you really made it. So,
Yeah. That's actually so true. No, no, you're right. And I'm just having like a moment of vulnerability. And like some days I'm like at like the top of the mountain, and some days I'm like, why am I sharing all of this stuff? And like I think today I was just like having like a moment of panic where I'm like, what if like none of this works? But one of my friends said this to me because she's 33 and single and like really actively looking for her partner as well. And she's like, you never know what's around the corner. You
mm,
never know. And like maybe you were meant to go on this journey, like you said, because now, well, first of all, it gave me a new career, which I'm like so excited and blessed about.
Yeah.
But I just like don't know like what the ending's supposed to be. And so I'm just riding the wave.
Ride the wave, honey. I love it. Okay, that was a perfect way to end. Where can we find you on socials and all of that fun stuff?
Yeah, so follow me at Life of Marin NYC on Instagram. I'm Life of Marin on TikTok, and then follow Crowdsourcing Love on Instagram for featured singles of the week, where I'm gonna be featuring singles, excuse me, all over the US. Might even do some international features. The power of
Cool.
the internet is like wild, and so maybe I'll feature you. Like we'll see. And we'll just like just follow that page and hopefully we can help each other find love. And then I think that's all. I have a newsletter that's coming out. You can go to my link tree to subscribe to that newsletter. And that's going to be like a fun, like take on dating profiles, all the hot tips and tricks that I have.
Love it. Cool. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much. We'll definitely stay in touch because I just loved this and I love your journey. So, Winers, go follow her journey and we'll see you all next Thursday. Bye.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Paige.
Okay, this is weird. I've never had to do a live ad read before, so here we are. Who wants better sex? The best way to start getting the best sex in 2023 is to go get an amazing deal from Adam and Eve. At adamandeve.com, you get 50% off plus free shipping. That's 50% off an adventurous new toy, slippery lube, or almost anything else your heart desires. My podcast listeners get 50% off with Adultish, ADULTISH, at adamandeve.com and free shipping. Doesn't matter what you choose, all will be packaged and sent discreetly for free. Bring more pleasure and satisfaction to your bedroom. Make 2023 sex the best sex of your life. So go to adamandeve.com, put in code adultish, ADULTISH, and get the exclusive offer. So it's 50% off any one item, 3 bonus sexy items, 6 movies, and 100% free shipping. Have fun.